आज हम लोग 10,000 गन्स के ऊपर इलीगली बैठे हुए कि AK-47 का इतना भाड़ा, पिस्टल का इतना किराया, ब्लैंक का गोली का इतना पैसा। अब पंजाब में भी जैसे लोग रियल गने यूज़ कर ले और ले आओ जी, तो लेके आ जाते हैं। पर सबसे डिफ़िकल्ट बिजनेस हमारा ही है अगर देखा जाए तो लीगली वाइज। एक्सप्लोजिव हम लोग पटाखे से खरीद के फोड़ते हैं, ठीक है नहीं, गन्स हम लोग खुद बना रहे हैं।
Don't you think terrorists and criminals could also use the same disguise for their actions? And there could be tons of arms and ammunition and explosives stored in and around Aarey. Just as unaccounted finance is called money laundering, similarly unlicensed arms and ammunition are called smuggling. This report examines how arms and ammunition, money laundering and human trafficking are interconnected, constituting organized crime. The government issued license for both dummy and original arms and ammunition for a reason, and currently it's all illegal, from film shooting to weapon shooting, which is happening in Aarey of Mumbai. However, despite it being made mandatory, local authorities act as if everything is normal, neglecting special regulations that need to be followed. Meanwhile, it seems like India is experiencing a deja vu from the 90s, the combination of the Khalistani movement, the Babri Masjid demolition for Ram Mandir, the Mumbai terror attacks and threats by Muslim outfits, along with the apparent involvement of the film industry in arms and ammunition smuggling. All of these elements have joined once again in our current report on arms and ammunition, Predictive Policing and Analytics. In the early 1990s, the Khalistani terrorist outfit was at its peak and wanted to establish a base in Mumbai. Currently, there are reports of the Khalistani outfit using the farmers' protest to create a base in India. Again, while the National Security Act prison cell in Assam found phones and electronics, where an accused is in prison for instigating the Khalistani terror movement in India. The then Khalistani acts were followed by the Mumbai riots in 1991 and the demolition of the Babri Masjid for the Ram Mandir, leading to the worst terror attacks in Mumbai in 1993, and currently the inauguration of the Ram Mandir is completed. In the entire dynamics, the film industry seems to be involved in violating various regulations, potentially facilitating arms and ammunition smuggling under the guise of weapons used for the film shooting or for self-protection, in which various producers and actors were even arrested. Now the situation demands legal action on film shooting studios, which has the capabilities of storing materials by claiming it to be for film shooting purposes, but it is all illegal, from film shooting to using weapons for shooting. Let's refer to the sequence in a filmy pattern. One of the most violent films recently featuring heavy loaded weapons and ammunition is called Animal, starring Ranbir Kapoor. Interestingly, Ranbir Kapoor also portrayed Sanjay Dutt in his biopic, who was arrested under the Arms Act, becoming the first Bollywood actor exposed to connections with the underworld. The movie Animal, which included a heavy gunfight scene, was shot at the Royal Palms Hotel in Aarey, which is central to our theory about arms and ammunition smuggling, as these weapons fall under the same license category as original arms and ammunition as per the Indian law. However, the film industry not only violates the laws where it shoots, but also disregards regulation for film and weapon shootings. A concerning trend has emerged at the intersection of the film industry and the underworld, where funding is directed not towards the film production but towards the studios where the filming takes place. Evidence suggests violations such as forest burning to create film shooting studios and converting hotels into permanent filming locations. This activity masks upfront acts, including the smuggling of around 10,000 unlicensed arms and ammunition within Mumbai, allegedly for film shooting alone. While movies often use fake guns, regulations are breached when originals are sought for special effects, although the presence of fake or original guns are exactly the same. The Indian government's categorization of all guns under a single arms license, which also raises doubts about the authenticity of these firearms in almost every movie that uses these arms and ammunition. In addition, the billing for film shooting purposes typically includes all arms and ammunition on GST invoices, regardless of their legitimacy. But that's not all. The correlation of every activity has Aarey as the common point for almost all kinds of mafia, underworld, and even terrorist activities. Aarey and Royal Palms, which is a private land, is observing Bharat Shah's 23 acres of land dispute in Royal Palms, who has been facing Indian courts for allegedly using underworld Don Dawood Ibrahim's money, mafias that burnt approximately 20 acres in Royal Palms for constructing illegal film shooting studios, and even conversion of almost all hotels in Royal Palms into permanent filming location adds to the complexity, from sex racketing to its alleged involvement in trafficking and smuggling activities, along with money laundering crimes. Various open grounds and warehouses are used for the storage of film shooting stocks, while it is also estimated that just within the Mumbai jurisdiction there are approximately 10,000 arms and countless ammunition, explosive and other materials. Aarey Forest, being a secluded forest zone with the world's highest population of wildlife in the middle of the city, faces overlapping jurisdictional complications involving local, state and central governments, as well as the involvements of private sector, public sector and the defense sector. We have tallied various patterns from Mr. Baljeet Parmar, who was the first person or journalist to expose the involvement of the Indian cinema with the underworld and terrorism. His published news article had led to the arrest of Indian actor Sanjay Dutt that opened a Pandora's box for the world to observe. While these arguments are limited to the Royal Palm's fake film city next to the Maharashtra state government operated film city, the aspects of fake activities within the radius of Aarey also extend to other international operations and linkages. Just as the owner's family of the Royal Palms holds Australian citizenship, allegations suggest a Tamilian who formerly trained Mumbai police commandos for their martial arts requirements was apparently running fake Interpol operations within Aarey. The documentation of this fake Interpol or international police has also tracked back to Australia that was also providing various kinds of trainings in the name of martial arts. Years ago, Crimeophobia had also exposed operations in which various correspondences were held with the Indian and Australian governments to shut down these fake Interpol operations, but no case was registered due to the organized crime patterns being unknown to the local authorities. The conflict isn't just about Australia's involvement, but the operations being handled by Tamilians also raise concerns within Aarey, since Tamil sympathizers of Sri Lanka's LTTE chief late Prabhakaran also strongly exist in Aarey. The region, which has a major population of Tamilians dominating the film industry set building work, has been celebrating the birthdays of the LTTE chief, who is tagged as a terrorist in India after he assassinated the former Indian Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi. Can the coincidence of Royal Palm owners having Australian citizenship and the operatives of the fake Interpol also having an Australian background be dismissed? Perhaps let's also consider the coincidence that the administration skills of Tamilians for the entire film industry in Mumbai, which indirectly controls more than 10,000 guns for film shooting purposes, also manage the operations of fake Interpol trainings and recruitment activities from Aarey. The problem isn't just these aspects. The world's first transnational government, which parallels the United Nations Transnational Organized Crime, has been established only by Tamilians. The transition from liberation tigers of Tamil Eelam to transnational government of Tamil Eelam is well established, and their transnational operational patterns are also evidenced in Khalistani terror groups, which is trying to influence India through farmers' protest. We consider that Tamilians have been heavily influenced by Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj and his guerrilla warfare techniques. The legendary emperor of the Maratha Empire was unbeatable with his administrative and operational techniques, and having Interpol operations in the middle of a metropolitan city is both informative and remarkable, attempting to replicate the effect of his operations for the transnational government. The Tamilian who worked for the Australian-based fake Interpol had created uniforms, ID cards, formal documentation and military ranks for those recruited. The operations within Aarey were possible since martial arts training doesn't require any authorizations globally, whereas arms and ammunition are provided within Aarey as dummy or original under the guise of film industry, which is technically again controlled by Tamilians in both fake and original film city operational in Aarey. While the Crimeophobia team has tried its best to provide crime education, it has also worked on anti-criminal and anti-terrorism rehabilitation within the Aarey region. After the complications involving Australians and Tamilians, there is also the influence of Naxalites, which is addressed within Aarey. As part of the government's joint project between the Youth and Home Ministries, Criminologist Snehil Dhall has provided rehabilitation sessions to youths brought from highly Naxalite terror-affected regions. The vulnerable youths are brought to the New Zealand hostel located in Aarey for relevant support to prevent them from picking up weapons. However, it continues to be a struggle to handle youth psychology within Aarey, where they celebrate the birthday of a banned Tamil terrorist chief who was killed before these kids were even born. All these activities occur in dense forests with a huge population of wildlife, mainly leopards, which renders local enforcement agencies non-operational. On the other hand, approximately 3,200 acres of land are under the control of the Aarey Milk Factory, with their own factory security guards governing such locations, giving them a free hand. The other security agencies are of Mumbai Police, Forest Guards and private guards, but there isn't a confirmed jurisdiction demarcation for these four agencies. Amid these activities, Muslim influences have started marking every temple and Hindu residential village in Aarey, setting up illegal mosques, dargahs and various slums with a free pass from the milk factory, which governs the land under the dairy development's banner. Their activities has led to direct attacks on Hindu communities and their rights to practice religion, in which even Hindu festivals have been banned for celebration. Various activities across Aarey directly suggest that a major arms and ammunition smuggling transit has taken over in Aarey Forest and Royal Palms, much like evidence of the sex and human trafficking witnessed by 800 Jammu and Kashmir girls in the hotels of Royal Palms during their visit. While the smuggling of original arms and ammunition falls under the purview of law enforcement agencies to question the culprits based on our predictive policing and analytical report. Let's hear from the dealers of airsoft guns and dummy guns whose weapons are exactly like the originals.
I'm Vishal Thyagi, and we are into this film industry handling guns and SFX work. SFX means rain, smoke, explosions, flying cars into the sky, all that. So that is our company name is Thyagi Guns and SFX, where we are working from last 42 years into this industry, where my company is 42-year-old company and I've been working here from last 35 years.
गन्स के बारे में एजुकेशन तो इन सेंस कि ऐसे हुआ कि जब मैंने होश आया मेरे को, जब मैं 5-6 साल का ही जब था तो मेरे आसपास है ना मेरे को खिलौने नहीं दिखते थे, गन्स दिखती थी सिर्फ। तो बचपन से मैं गन्स के बीच में ही बड़ा हूँ। फिर जैसे थोड़ा बड़ा होते गए, थोड़े पढ़ के कुछ किताबें देख के, तो वैसे वैसे करके है ना गन्स का एजुकेशन मेरे को वहाँ से मिला। तो वी हैव वेपन्स फ्रॉम द टाइम they have been made 1857 till date। अभी आप देखो ये पुरानी सब बहुत पुरानी गन्स है। ये 80s की, सन 18s के एरा की है। ये आप देखो ये लेट 80s की गन है। ये फिर आपका थोड़ा सा ये 19 की गन्स आ गई है, 1900 की। ये भी 1900 में गन्स आई है। ये फिर थोड़ा 1970s में आई है ये सब। ये फिर अभी हमारे पुलिस के पास ये वाली है, फिर AK-47 पुलिस के पास है, प्लस ये हमारी SLRs हैं। सो दे आर ऑल नाउ दिस SLR इज नाउ विद द पुलिस। सो अभी तक के वी हैव कवर्ड एवरीथिंग, मतलब इन आवर कैपेसिटी।
सो से लाइक इन 2016 में जैसे ये GR आके इन गन्स को सबको रियल की कैटेगरी में डाल दिया कि वेर एज वी आर वेरी डिफरेंट फ्रॉम द रियल गन डीलर्स एंड फ्रॉम द लाइक विद द ब्लैंक गन्स। सो अब हम क्या हो गया अभी, अगर आप लीगली अगर आप देखा जाए तो अगर आप पूरे बॉम्बे के हमारे जो भी जितने भी गन्स वाले देखें who are our union members, so I say like around 10,000 guns are there with everybody of us, around that much. So आज हम लोग 10,000 गन्स के ऊपर इलीगली बैठे हुए। अगर now if I go towards the according to the certificates and according to the government GR, but हम इतने साल से पहले सर्विस टैक्स के साथ बिल बनता था हमारा, तो हम सर्विस टैक्स भरते थे, और अब जीएसटी के साथ बिल बन रहा है। तो जब हम जीएसटी के साथ बिल बना रहे हैं तो हमारे को गवर्नमेंट ने क्या बोला है कि आप इलीगल गन्स के साथ में लीगल काम करो और उसका जीएसटी हमको दो। तो अब जब हम बिल बनाते हैं उसमें जीएसटी लगाते हैं, और जब हमारे जीएसटी के बिल गवर्नमेंट को सबमिट होते हैं तो उसमें लिखा रहता है सर कि AK-47 का इतना भाड़ा, पिस्टल का इतना किराया, ब्लैंक का गोली का इतना पैसा। तो आज हम ये सारा जो काम कर रहे हैं, तो आज हम लीगली तो टैक्स दे रहे हैं गवर्नमेंट को, तो हम लीगल हुए। तो अब हमारे को एक्चुअल में सच में तो लीगली करना चाहिए ना, उन्होंने हमारे से आप हमारे को इलीगल करके लीगल काम करवा के टैक्स ले रहे हो, तो हमको अब लीगल करो। फ्रॉम 95 till 2015 से like 14-15 things were normal, all good, and because the government has given us certificates for all these guns. Certificate means for a real gun they give licenses, but for all these fake guns and the replica guns they give certificates. So it is like certified that these guns are fake and they cannot be converted into real arms. But licenses are renewables. For us there was no date to renew that things. But then in 2016 one GR came that all the certificates what have been given to us are now invalid. But actually nobody is understanding that GR, that is for the normal public. It is not for the film people. But here our customs and police and everything, now they say these certificates are invalid. And because of this certificates are invalid, our all business of going these guns to abroad, so like we used to do a lot of shoots in Abu Dhabi, so the guns used to go from here. So after 2017-18 they have stopped sending guns. Now before we used to fly guns into with the flights, but now in the flight also they don't allow this because the certificates have null and voided. So there are a lot of problems which are been getting now, and because of that I have to tell you this, because of that a lot of people they're doing importing the guns and bullets illegally. Reason being, we used to import these guns in 2010 and 11, where in customs book it was written, if in eyes of custom commissioner these guns cannot be converted into lethal weapon, it's allowed. So on that basis our guns used to be cleared, but suddenly one day in 2012 they freezed our stuff, saying that oh, this is illegal, you have to get certificate from DGFT. I said, like, all these years it was coming, there was no problem, but now you're saying we have to get certificate from DGFT. So any which ways we applied to DGFT in 2020 November. I have applied myself with all the whatever the requirements are of DGFT, and we are sitting in 2023-24, my friend. Still our licenses, not license, I'll call permission to import, because when it is come to restriction, they put it into restriction, so you have to get the permission from DGFT, Director General of Foreign Trade. And until 2024 we have not got the licenses yet. So if we get the licenses, like the permission from DGFT, then we don't have to worry, we can import them legally. People will have, like, government will also have the record. See, government has put us into illegal category, but they have not stopped our business. उन्होंने खाली सर्टिफिकेट वो किया है, उन्होंने हमको ये नहीं बोला कि गन्स लाके जमा करो हमारे पास, सो हमारा धंधा बंद नहीं हुआ. नॉट दे हैव कम एंड सेड कि नहीं आप एक काम नहीं करोगे. सो इन दैट वे हमको गवर्नमेंट से मना नहीं है. तो वही मैं बता रहा हूँ कि उनकी तरफ से इलीगल है, लेकिन भाई हम जो शूटिंग में जा रहे हैं उनके लिए लीगल वो नहीं देखते ना. उनका तो ये है कि काम हो रहा है हमारा. आर्म्स डिपार्टमेंट में बात कर रहे हैं, वो लोग यही बोलते हैं कि मैक्सिमम आपको 3 के लाइसेंस दे सकते हैं, बंदूक राइफल. बट बंदूक राइफल वी आर इनटू AK-47 वर्ल्ड माय फ्रेंड, वी आर इनटू M16 वर्ल्ड. तो हमको खाली बंदूक राइफल और पिस्टल का लाइसेंस लेके काम नहीं चलेगा ना. हमको तो MMG का भी लाइसेंस चाहिए, हमको तो सॉरी नॉट लाइसेंस, अगेन सर्टिफिकेट चाहिए. एंटी एयरक्राफ्ट गन्स का भी सर्टिफिकेट चाहिए. कभी कभी हमको तोप भी बनानी पड़ जाती है, लेकिन चलो तोप तो हम ऐसे बनाते हैं रियल, तो उसका सर्टिफिकेट. लेकिन जो एंटी एयरक्राफ्ट गन वगैरह जो हैं, सारी जो गन्स हमारे पास हैं जो हम खुद बना रहे हैं, वो तो सर्टिफाइड करना है ना उनको. तो हमको सर्टिफिकेट चाहिए सर. इंस्टेड ऑफ पुटिंग दिस गन्स इनटू रियल कैटेगरी, दे शुड एजुकेट देयर स्टाफ, देयर पीपल, देयर ऑफिसर्स, देयर कॉन्स्टेबल्स, कि जो पता जिनको पता रहे कि भाई ये नकली गन है और ये असली गन है. जब उनको पता रहेगा कि असली और नकली का डिफ्रेंशिएशन, तो हमारे कॉन्फ्लिक्ट खत्म हो जाएंगे. हमको लाइसेंस मिलने, हमारे सर्टिफिकेट्स मिलने हमको चाहिए लोगों को. तो इंस्टेड ऑफ मतलब उनके लोगों को एजुकेट करने के बदले में उन्होंने हमारे पे रिस्ट्रिक्शंस डाल दिए कि आप लोग ये गन इंपोर्ट नहीं कर सकते, आप लोग ये नहीं कर सकते.
लाइक आप यहाँ पे जो गन्स देख रहे हैं, इसमें से हम लोग ने 2015-16 में हमारे बॉम्बे में NSG का बेस है. सो दे वांटेड सम गन्स फॉर द ट्रेनिंग पर्पसेस. तो हमने एग्जैक्ट वही वेट में है ना, हमने उनको NSG को ये M4 भी दिए हुए हैं, MP5 भी दी हुई है. इवन उन्होंने हमको थैंक्स के लेटर्स भी दिए हुए हैं. प्लस हमको उन्होंने NSG कमांडोज की कैप्स भी बना के दी थी हमारे नाम के साथ में. एंड नाउ अब ये जो गन्स है ना, अभी हम लोग रबर गन्स खरीदने शुरू किए हैं, जो मिलिट्री को अब वो लोग ट्रेनिंग पर्पसेस के लिए बना के देते हैं. सो नाउ हमने अभी उनसे ये गन खरीदना शुरू किया है. तो ये अच्छी है, हमको सस्ते में मिलती है, लेकिन गुड. हमारी जो रबर गन्स वगैरह भी जो है, जो फाइबर में हम लोग बनाते हैं, वो भी बहुत अच्छी फिनिश होती है. और मैं कुछ उनको है ना ये ब्लैंक फायरिंग गन्स भी दिखाने के लिए लेके गया था, लेकिन उनका मिलिट्री का इतना परफेक्ट था कि उन्होंने ना गन को हाथ में उठाने की भी जरूरत नहीं पड़ी उनको. उन्होंने जैसे मैंने खोल के टेबल पे रखी ना, तो उन्हें सीधा बोलते अच्छा ये तो नकली है, फिल्मी वाली है ना ये तो मतलब हमारे जो मिलिट्री है, आई थिंक दे आर ट्रेन्ड फॉर, मतलब उनको गन्स को हाथ लगाने की जरूरत नहीं है. उनको पता रहता है कि भाई देख लिया, अच्छा ये तो असली नहीं है. तो सेम वे थोड़ा सा पुलिस भी ट्रेंड हो जाए तो अच्छा हो जाएगा सर सबके लिए.
With footprints from Tamilians to Muslim outfits and youth coming terrorist hit regions of the Naxalite to Kashmir, the region of Aarey has been observing every kind of crime which India has been signed under the United Nations Transnational Organized Crime or the UNTOC. The traces and cover-ups for sex and human trafficking, money laundering and arms and ammunition smuggling are getting established by the day with either physical or circumstantial evidence. This small region of Aarey is also observing international involvements with Sri Lankan sympathizers to Australian operatives, while Crimeophobia considers these patterns match with the transnational organized crime. The daily amount of money laundering is very well channeled, and if the land scam value is disclosed, then a few may face a heart attack too. While tentative smuggling locations and warehouses of dummy arms and ammunition could be identifiable during Crimephobia's investigation, the original guns and explosives are under the investigative powers of only law enforcement. We hope the understanding and importance of organized crime is understood sooner to avoid later law and order conflicts. While the National Security Guards, Mumbai Police Force on Commando, State Reserve Police and other agencies carry their activities, it has already been established that the operations of fake Interpol training camps and arms and ammunition smuggling are allegedly proceeding as usual due to a lack of education among authorities, who struggle to differentiate between real and fake guns and activities. The original weapon smugglers were unwilling to come forward, but due to overlapping jurisdiction of security agencies, their businesses also continue as usual. Allegedly, they take advantage by claiming their firearms are intended to use in the film industry, encountering no objections from the authorities, which also takes no interest to verify the film shooting permissions and licenses despite of multiple complaints. Don't you think terrorists and criminals could also use the same disguise for their actions? And there could be tons of arms and ammunition and explosives stored in and around Aarey. This is Raashi Shetty signing off as an investigative psychologist.